Welcome back to the 55th and final episode of the Chicken Chess Club podcast. My name is Jan Gustafsson. I am incredibly sorry that it took so long for us to record another episode. Obviously, it's not my fault. It's also not the fault of any of the people joining me today. And we have fantastic news. We have 100% more Peters than you people are used to. Peter Svidler is here with us to round out the cast, along with regular cast member Peter Heine Nielsen. Peter Svidler, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm back home after losing some games of chess to an Indian prodigy as well. Prodigy is maybe.
We did. He's like years and years old.
Yes, exactly. Years and years old is the correct description. But losing some games of chess still stands. Back to long walks with the dog and then more long walks with the dog, which is just how life should be.
That does sound exciting. Peter Heine Nielsen, can you beat that?
I don't know. It comes close, right? I left, 4 o'clock in the morning from Stavanger this morning after a tournament where Magnus, for the first time in whatever years, didn't win a game of chess. So not particularly well. And while Peter did actually find time to walk his dog, I haven't even been at the golf course yet. So no, not too great stuff here. But things will change, I hope.
My first question and most important question about the Stavanger tournament. When you left at 4 a.m., did you have to get your own transportation or was it provided?
Well, I got a taxi, which I sort of hope that eventually I will manage to get a refund from my boss from. So I don't know if that counts, but
No, that counts as you had to organize it yourself. No, that was my question.
Well, I sort of mentioned it to the organizers that probably getting a volunteer to drive me at 4:45 in the morning was perhaps unreasonable, and they seem to agree with that statement. So I figured it out myself. Or you have some context, or you're just curious?
No, I'm mainly curious, but it was a personal favorite scene when former world champion and chess legend Vishy Anand, I think last year, asked how the transportation to the airport was going to happen from the hotel, and he just said, "No, you can just order a taxi at the reception." Vishy said, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah.
I'm sure he was aware of that option. We talked about it in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, the concept probably is familiar to him. Yeah.
So how was Stavanger? I don't know where to begin. You mentioned Magnus didn't win a chess game. You could also say he won 7 chess games.
That's true. It was a rude and factually wrong comment by me, which sort of means that I care only about classical chess, which is obviously wrong. But I mean, basically, you should quiz me. I mean, who brought who as second? What was the results? Whatever, right? I mean, there's so many non-interesting things to talk about. We went on a boat trip that was very cool and such. There's, I mean, a lot of stuff. Where you want to start?
To the Fleur and Fleur or something.
Exactly. I couldn't have pronounced it better myself.
Flower Island?
Yeah, what the highest rated Peter here is explaining is that you take a boat through sort of out from Stavanger harbor, and then after maybe half an hour, you come to this incredibly beautiful Iceland, who has a huge garden made there, and it's very, very impressive. And,
yeah, we played around there one year. I remember.
That's true, actually. Yeah, that's a while back. Yeah,
we had the Blitz qualifier there, so we've all been there. They do have nice flowers.
Mm.
Yeah. It's a very impressive place. When we were there were very few people. So basically, you go on this. It basically feels like this remote island you're walking on. It has incredible fauna, and it's beautiful, peaceful, and so on and so forth. Very, very cool.
I haven't met any of the fauna. It's mainly the flora, though.
Okay. Again, yeah. I don't really.
That's what I'm here for. I'm pretty sure. Correcting minor mistakes.
Thanks a lot.
That has to be my role here.
Yeah. Help me out, Jan. Ask another.
No, I'll let you guys hang yourself on the flower island.
Yeah.
Talk. So Stavanger, the Norway Chess 2023 Super Tournament is over with a dramatic last round where Hikaru Nakamura beats his countryman Fabiano Caruana to overtake the lead in the last round. Hikaru Nakamura wins the event, also becomes the world number 2. Again, it changed a couple times during the event. I think it was Ali Reza, Caruana, Nakamura. It kept changing hands. That I guess we should start with congratulations to at GM Hikaru. Impressive stuff. 6 out of 9. Undefeated. Found time while playing Caruana to go to the confessional for an hour and a half and address every single topic. Where does he? I was also told like 10 minutes before the game against Caruana that Hikaru's still streaming. I don't even know how he does it, like logistically, to get to the playing hall, play. Then he has to go to the confessional. But also beating Fabi in a 4-knight G5 line. I thought Fabi should know. There's so much to unpack. Where to begin?
Well, I can give you some logistics. I mean, well, as soon as the game was finished, you would see him just outside the lobby. Someone will give him a laptop, most likely his second or his fiance, right? And he would immediately go streaming after the game. That's more or less the first thing you see him do, and for a considerable amount of time. So basically, I mean, you're right. Things are set up so that he can stream just before the game, just after the game, and go to the confessional during the game, right? So it's clear this is a huge priority. But he did bring a chess second as well, which I guess is almost rare for him these days.
Who's the chess second?
Well, Chris Littlejohn.
Same old, same old.
Yeah, he was back. Good shape, and doing well. Well, Fress is not here, so we can't really go on with that subject. But yeah, no, and I think I think it's his fiance, right, who was also there. So he came with quite a team.
Yeah, has done well. That last round game was very puzzling to me, but that's really like all the questions there have to be addressed to Fabi. Frankly, like it is puzzling, but no fault attaches to Hikaru. He is winning by move 15 and goes on to win. I mean, what's not to like from his viewpoint? But yeah, what Fabi was doing there was not altogether.
Always so confusing, this modern chess, no? Because that particular line I knew, and then you're sitting there saying, okay, but everybody must know this. This is not a great choice to play for a win. But then when Fabi doesn't know it and throws the game away in one move, which I guess is more shocking than not knowing knight b4 instead of f5 in that particular position. But even if you don't know stuff, Fabi's such a great calculator. Why would he give everything away? I didn't understand it, but then with hindsight, it makes it, of course, a fantastic choice by Nakamura.
Yeah.
I don't get it particularly either. I mean, but it was a very, very strange blunder from Fabi. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, we're probably centering on this one game a bit too early, but since sort of the entire tournament was more or less decided in that one moment where he played a 5 instead of knight before, I saw that move and I tried to figure out what he thought he had after knight takes c5. And queen a5 apparently loses immediately to knight g5.
But the problem is,
But even if knight a4,
Nightfall discussing a position, but knight a4, you're also much worse, and there's
exactly.
no tactics to spot, so it doesn't add up.
Yeah,
Was it
I'm probably
of madness for Caruana?
Breaching my contract of confidentiality, but I had the exact same conversation with Magnus, who also said that sure, knight g5 is nice, but okay, knight a4 is also just a crushing move, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard to understand. I mean, I don't know Fabi that well. Does he actually get very nervous?
Once again, this is armchair psychology, but I could imagine he has a bit of a thing with Hikaru as well, like some history, countryman. He lost him in the candidates, and I don't think of him as usually getting very nervous, but maybe Hikaru spending all his time in the confessional, streaming 2 minutes before, also gets to him a little bit. Mm-hmm. I was just shocked. Maybe this is the opening nerd in me, but e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6, we see in every second top-level game. That's how it feels like. And every time there is this option of knight g5 looming and some very sharp lines. So I'm always assuming people consider it for white all the time, and then they check for black all the time to make sure not to get hit by it. But maybe that's, just paranoia on my part. I was very confused.
Yeah,
but there were probably some other games of chess played in that tournament, so maybe we should...
To round off this game, maybe, well, as we will go over the tournament. I mean, this tournament was all Caruanas, basically, from start until the finish. And maybe that adds some nerve in terms of, okay, I can actually blow it, and that somehow, made him collapse. I don't know. It's hard to come up with any other reasonable explanation. But, well, we can start from the beginning, although the beginning is not that pleasant from my perspective. But makes sense.
I don't recall a thing. I think going through all the rounds is too much. Big picture, yeah, Magnus Carlsen,
Well, he
8
started.
draws, 1 loss. He
He started.
started losing the first game, then drew 8, right?
Yeah, he lost to Caruana in the first round. Well, to be fair, the day before that there was this blitz tournament, right, where it's all play all blitz and the top 5 get 5 whites. And Magnus not getting into top 5 was not something I thought was a realistic possibility before the event started, but he actually ended up as number 6 and started with the black pieces against Caruana. But that's a pretty bad sign of form in a way. I mean, Magnus ending in the bottom half of a blitz tournament, I guess for you guys it also felt
Yeah,
impossible.
I was I didn't really take it so seriously as to think this might be a very like significant portent of things to come. But yeah, it just doesn't happen, does it? Him not actually getting the 5 whites in this tournament, because the format has been the same for years and
Yeah, yeah.
years, and it
I, I,
just doesn't
I'm
happen.
I
no,
was even maybe through my geary hat, but I was mildly protesting the format because I was arguing it's in a way it means the rich get richer because it guarantees Magnus an extra white in every Norway chess, which means, yeah, he also has a slightly higher rating expectation. So I'm never sure how fair it is to have these blitz qualifiers for the extra white. You could argue about it, and of course it's a good show, but usually it should mean that it's an edge, of course, for the strongest players, which is Magnus. And yeah, to not see him get there, I don't know what the odds are, but you don't even take it into consideration. So it was a red flag, I guess, with hindsight.
no. Also, he started out with half of 3. I thought, okay, he's still gonna get 5 whites, of course. And indeed, he won the next 3 games, and everything seems under control. Then he lost to Tari, and then I think in the final round he needed to beat Firusha, and he was completely winning and didn't find the win, and ended up in a draw. And somehow he was number 6. And well, again, it shouldn't be a disaster. But the next day he lost to Caruana, who played a great game.
Yeah. That's, I guess, can happen. Like, I know we've talked about it here plenty. Fabi with white, maybe
Hmm.
it's also us and thinking back to 2018. But Fabi with white, I think, is still one of the greater forces in
Of
the chess
course.
world. No? Like,
Well, Magnus has actually won the 2 previous games with black, but
mhm.
that's probably that actually indicates that the risk of losing is higher, because it's clear that Fabi, even if he plays Magnus, just gonna play a game of chess. He's gonna play for a win. He's not gonna do, like, for instance, what Hikaru did and force the draw. Magnus played the French and tried to provoke a battle. He got a battle, and well, Hikaru was, having a better position. Then at some point he was computer style equal, but still easier for Fabi to play. And then at some point Magnus made a very bad blunder and was just dead lost immediately and never recovered from that, as I saw it.
Yeah,
What can
that's
you tell us? Sorry, go ahead, Pedro.
no, that I just wanted to, for no particular reason, just agree with everything Peter. I'm
Yeah,
just
it's always nice.
yeah.
Much appreciated.
What can you tell us from, as much as you can tell us from inside Team Magnus? He's mentioned classical chess and chess training hasn't been a big priority for him the last couple months. Would you think like this bad result now is a motivator for him, or it's more of a proof? Yeah, this is not high on my to-do list anyway. Can't win games without all this prep. Let's do other stuff. Like,
It could be either way, and I think, well, the jury being himself might still be out in a way. I didn't think there was any kind of panic, neither from him or from the team. I mean, and well, it's not like I can say it felt like it was not that bad an event, because the score was obviously. I mean, he lost, like, I don't know if he lost
18
16,
and a half.
18
Yeah.
points. I'm not sure how many points he lost, but I mean, well, you have to take a decision. Do you think there is something fundamentally wrong or not, or is this an outlier? And I think we are sticking with the outlier. That was like 3-4 games we thought he could have won had he been a bit better at the right times and stuff like this. Well, I understand I'm the opening coach, so I will say that I don't think the openings was a big problem either. So I guess we will think that well, these kind of things happens, and we will expect that he's still the best player in the world, and we will move on from there, and expect that the next time he starts playing, he's still the big favorite. So, but well, of course, if you have too many of these events, it's not going to be that fun. And it's true that now is it 4 tournaments in a row he hasn't won? He has played in. I mean, there is
Kept track. What has he played? He played Vike. He played Norway chess. What else is that?
St. Louis. He sort of played too few rounds
Okay,
to
St.
have a
Louis he
shot at
played.
it, and I think there was something before that, but I've forgotten it.
The more shocking thing is he barely plays. No, like this is over the span of a
Yeah.
year, and it's not gonna be much more. No, as far as I know, there's not that much scheduled. Bunch of rapid stuff. Or
No, I might know a bit more than you, which I can't say, but I think, well, I mean, I think you're kind of spot on to some extent, but I mean, well, I'm on a need to know basis, and I don't really need to know that much, so I'm not fully sure what his schedule is, but we will see. But I get your point.
The main event, I suppose, right?
well, he's going to Dubai.
Yeah, yeah, he's going to Dubai, but it's not a.
Yeah, he's also probably playing the main event, I assume.
I don't know actually. He might, but
That's the World Series of Poker. Or
Yeah,
which dates are that?
that's in a month or thereabouts.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I understand, that's a decision you take 4 hours before, right? Or how does it work?
Well, it's you do need to be in Vegas for that to be.
Okay, that's you cannot. They're not letting you play remotely, right?
No,
No.
Yeah,
That's. Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not. I guess it's too early for conclusions, but of course we would need more classical events. I don't think anybody will say if Magnus chooses to play whatever Sinkerfield Cup. I don't know what he might be playing. He will still be the big favorite going into it, but would be good to see the ball going through the net again. So yeah, I'm very curious.
of course. I fully agree. This was, I mean, if you have sort of told me the spectrum of results before the event, 4 points, -1, no wins, would probably not have been in there. I would have guessed that. Okay, if things goes very badly, he ends up on +1, doesn't win the event, but more than 50% of the time, he's going to win the event. Especially, it's a format that should favor him. We saw him kicking ass in the Armageddon, but not really, managing anyway. So
It's like they say in Anchorman: 60% of the time he wins every time.
there's too much info for me to process.
No, it's fine.
So, okay.
I should say that I was about to criticize the organizers for their invitational policy, but then Tari won in the last round, and I can't really trash them for having these 2 locals who clearly can't win a game against top class competition. So no, it all played out nicely.
Okay. No, at first I thought, are you sort of doing the hammer angle? But no, it was just a take on Magnus. You're prepared, yeah. So fair enough.
I've done the same joke when he did horribly, I think in 2015 in Norway chess.
Yeah.
And Hammer was there, also not winning a game. And yeah, I've been to this
Good. Yeah, I think
realm of funny.
he will not do anything, but he will remember it. So
That's fine. We should also praise Anish Giri. 8 draws, 1 victory against Tari, 1-3 rating points.
So
very solid, yeah.
You're saying it was a very successful event, yeah?
I don't know. I guess it was sort of, the expected result, or as a rating performance says, I guess 50% to +1 is the expected result. I mean, it is what it is. I don't think he's too thrilled or too unhappy about it. For Anish, and I guess not just for Anish, also for Wesley and maybe Fabiano, I'm assuming it also matters to qualify for the candidates, and they have this strange, what's it called, FIDE cycle. I'm sure Peter is
I was
a more outspoken critic of the format.
I was trying to Google it right now to see the standings, but
The standings are a bit unclear, but as far as I understand it, your best 5 results go into
5.
it.
I thought
And
it was
it's only
3.
1 spot.
Okay.
So sometimes the standings can be a bit deceiving because people have like more results but mediocre ones. But basically, Anish won Vike, Fabi won Bucharest, and if Fabi was going to win this one as well, Fabi becomes a bit of a juggernaut in this format already. While now Anish has Vike and some +1s, and Fabi, I guess he's slightly ahead, but it still remains a bit of a race. Then you also have Wesley, who was +1.
I've actually completely forgotten about that angle, and winning 2 of those would have been a massive edge for Fabi, of course. Yeah,
I would guess if Fabi wins that one, he's hard to catch because also he's He's been playing well in
So
general.
basically, I mean, for Hikaru, he lost 2 entries to the candidates, both the tour and the rating spot in this one game. Yeah, not to rub it in, but that was the reality. Yeah.
But he also talked, because I was watching some of his confessional, he talked about, it's not on his priority for the other guys. It's not one of his priorities for the other guys. It might matter, but Hikaru is not going to play enough tournaments in Europe. So he literally doesn't care.
Oh, but no, I was talking about Karana. Oh, that's what you were doing as well.
Sorry, did you ask? I thought you said Hikaru.
No, I thought for Fabiano, he both lost the number 2 rating spot, which qualifies for candidate, and he didn't win, which would have given him a bunch of FIDE circuit points. So basically, he really tripped.
Whoa. And we just got an update on the standings, and apparently with that second place, Fabi is in 15th.
But he's fine. This is just the number of tournaments played. In the end, it's going to be 5. So the current standings are always deceiving. You count the best 5 results, but if you get 5 good tournaments, it's more about the top results.
And also, apparently, they haven't counted Norway yet. So that was a bit preliminary.
Also, you have to get to 5 tournaments. Is that maybe a problem for some? Or
for Magnus and Hikaru, it's a problem.
Yeah.
For Magnus, I'm assuming, can still qualify by rating, although the current pace, it's a bit unclear.
Care to make that interesting?
Not really.
No, okay.
No, I'm not sure it's a big priority, but it's, of course, also something that's on the back of people's head, because the World Cup, where there are 3 spots, and the Grand Swiss, where there are 2 spots, are a bit of a lottery in particular. But it's a lottery for everybody. But in particular, if you're not Peter Svidler and don't make the World Cup finals every single time you play, so that's tough for some others. So any other takeaways from Norway chess? Wesley also close to the perfect result, but he beat Nordibek, not Tari, so I don't think we're counting it.
No. It's a bit of a wannabe thing, but yes.
All the Aryan hate is making me very...
What hate?
Very uncomfortable. Okay. Much better.
I mean, it's a tough event for him to play, right?
It is, yeah. It is, but...
I don't know. I mean, I can understand you enjoy it the first time, but the 4th time or whatever he's played, it must be a little bit stressful, I would guess.
Yeah, but also, how do you say no to it?
No, you can't say no, of course.
Yeah.
But, I mean, a lot of your life will start surrounding about it, because you have to take it very seriously and prepare in order not to completely collapse, right? So, I don't know. I guess it takes up a lot of space in his life.
But, also, it's a topic we've covered before, but as someone who's very rarely been a big underdog in super tournaments, so much is about the start. And I think it's the same for Tari and for Hammer and whoever has played the role of I'm the 2-6-30 till 2-6-60 guy, play against all these top players. If you get into it, then you can sort of hang and you get some confidence, and also maybe people don't play the King's Indian or whatever fighting opening they can think of against you with black every game. But if they start smelling blood, it gets so energy draining and can get nasty. So I was very pleased for Aryan. They managed to win last round, because 2.5 out of 9 sounds so much better than 1.5, which I've done.
Yeah, and a victory against a very strong player, and a victory that will feel good in a way, because it was a very messy game. It wasn't perfectly played by any stretch, but to eventually come out on top in a fighting game against Alireza must be
maybe that is our clue to talk about Firuzha, because, well, Fress is not here to bring him up, but Firuzha had a somewhat underwhelming performance, right?
In a way, somewhat typical. I think he's still a very exciting player. He fights so hard every game. He always keeps the tension. He always tries so hard to leave any play in the position. But it can backfire, and it has backfired quite a few times here. What was his final score? -2, maybe? Or was it -1?
I think it's -2 in classical, right?
-2, yeah.
Well, maybe no, that's -1. Sorry, yeah, that's -1. So he lost the first one, then he won 2 in a row, then he lost to Fabi, and then he lost to Tari in round 9. And in between, there were a bunch of draws and Armageddons.
So if he wins the final game, which of course could have happened, then it would have been more or less rating expectation. I don't know. I find him interesting to watch, because his style is also so different. He doesn't seem to care about getting the 0 out of the opening with either color. He just plays something and keeps the tension and goes for an attack. He's just taking the draw out of the equation, and it's not an easy thing to do against the best players in the world. But I still enjoy watching, and I still think he's such a special talent because he also is able to keep that tension there. I think he struggles a bit against these pure calculators like Fabi. Did he lose to Fabi here? Because usually, they are also fine keeping the tension, but then at some point, Alireza might overpush it or he might get outcalculated. But I enjoy watching it.
That particular one was a bit of an opening disaster. He went for some gamble against the French, and Fabi was actually very well prepared. And the moment Fabi had to start thinking, he was already much better. So,
yeah,
or somewhat better at least.
Yeah.
No, I think Alireza brought a considerable entourage there.
Who was there? I'm always very curious. Was the brother there? Mohamed Reza, the manager?
It's embarrassing, but I'm not completely sure. Probably he was. I think both his parents was there and some female company, which I assume is his girlfriend, but I didn't really ask. But
yeah, she was also in Bucharest, but I wasn't sure that's public. So now it is. Yeah, that's.
I don't know. There was some female companion at least who is. So no, it was a considerable group, and he makes his presence felt in some way, in a cool way, but perhaps not strong enough on the chessboard this time. But I generally agree. He's such an interesting player. You also saw with Magnus that. Magnus provoked a bit in the opening, and first actually Alireza provokes. Magnus plays e4, Alireza plays c5, knight f3, e6, which he doesn't usually do, and then but he's really happy to provoke a fight.
And that was bishop d3, knight 6, castles g5.
Yeah, but also he plays g5. I understand it's the best move according to the computer, but even so, to do it against Magnus is, he didn't seem to care much. He was ready to fight, and that's the same you said with Caruana. That of course it might hurt him, but also long term it could be interesting. But I think for the chess world, of course, it's interesting here and now. It led to great games.
Yeah, just from a chess perspective, it still feels very scary to me. Clearly, he hasn't put it all together yet, but the skill that is there, first of all, the attitude, but also the skill of keeping these positions interesting all the time, I find impressive. Of course,
but that's probably what we like about him, that there seems to be so many things that seems kind of wrong with him, but he's incredibly strong already. So there's a lot of things. Well, we feel he can actually become much better, right? And then he's going to be a beast, right?
It feels like there's something special there, but of course, it's going to be very interesting to see where it goes. Also, my French sources are telling me that maybe the fashion classes were a bit overblown by us content creators, and that probably chess is still his main thing, which would be, I guess, good for the chess world.
Yeah, I don't know how the fashion world feels about it, but I'm not that connected there.
All right, that brings us to the end of the Norway chess segment. Let's get to the topic that I guess is on everybody's mind. The elephant in the room. Where is Laurent Fressinet? Why haven't we recorded an episode for weeks and weeks and weeks? Peter Heine, that is. Have you heard from Laurent? What is he doing?
I think he's just displaying his surprisingly excellent chess skills in the French league, making a bunch of points, and then I think he's busy celebrating at night, and that has basically not been able to, fit our podcast into his indeed busy schedule.
By busy schedule, we mean not trying to take anything away from him here and his fantastic result of, +4, 2-7, 50 performance. It might be a historic result for somebody who, frankly, we thought was washed up in his late 30s, and then to come back like that in their 40s and dominate. This might be unprecedented. Having said all these things, he prepares what? He repeats one Magnus file for an hour at from 12 till 1. Then normally he makes a 12-move draw, because he won some games when he was forced to play, but usually he makes a 12-move draw. So he's done at 4 p.m. Why can't he record for 1 hour per week with us? This at some point it has to be personal, no?
I would agree with you, but maybe he's just a social creature, right? I mean, he feels that he has to hang out with his team to support them during the round. Then he has to
Yeah,
hang
but
out with them after the round.
I've been around him during 2 matches. He really doesn't feel he has to hang out with his team to support them during the round.
I tried. Over to you, Peter.
No, I was going to say that the schedule as described really leaves plenty of time to go record and even come back for the time travel potentially.
For sure.
Yeah.
Also, we should mention that there was a night or two where Peter and I were sitting here trying to fight off sleep, trying to stay awake at like 11 p.m. Then only to get a drunk message from Laurent. Sorry, guys, still at dinner, getting slightly drunk, not gonna happen today. I think that was the intonation. So he doesn't care about us anymore. Now that he's a big chess star, he's abandoned us. What does that mean for the podcast? Because Peter Heine muted himself. He doesn't know how to operate a microphone. Laurent is gone. Peter Svidler, when do we start our hit podcast?
Well, too late, but way too late. But
That is true.
Started with Shell clearly.
Our 15 minutes of fame might have passed at this point.
There is no other choice.
Mm-hmm. Okay, since we lost both Laurent and Peter Heine, let's talk about your Indian adventures.
Am I muted?
Now we hear something, Peter.
Okay, no, my computer seems to claim I haven't been muted, but I was maybe just very silent. I don't know.
No, we saw your lips moving.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm a bit confused, so.
PH was just pranking us by doing the old lips moving but no sounds being emitted trick.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. But
he's just trying to not burn bridges with Laurent because it depends on him, both professionally and socially. While I have no such limitations.
Yeah,
Laurent,
but also
you left us.
Trashing Laurent has basically been part of the social glue in Team Carlsen from my side, right? So
that is true.
Would be weird to stop him, but I don't know. I mean, no, I'm mainly puzzled with how well he plays chess, to be honest. But of course, he seems to let us down a bit. But I mean, well, I think he really enjoys these team dinners, and I don't know about you guys if that's something that I mean. I thought when we play together in Baden-Baden, we enjoy having dinner for an hour or two, but then we all just leave. Or maybe it's just me leaving. I don't know. Maybe you guys...
Yeah, they tend to be overly long on some occasions, and you do feel like maybe you could. And I think I haven't played the French League in ages and ages, but those dinners I think are even longer than what Baden-Baden is used to.
Yeah.
So.
Heavily. But you also, like me, played back in the nowadays, or you continued after?
I played a bit for Evry in. I will not be able to remember the years, but yeah, I played a bit since now, but that was also ages ago.
No, I remember now. Of course, was different than Bundesliga. It took longer times, and it was probably more extravagant in a number of ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I should clarify for those of you who aren't experts on former French league team names. When Peter and Peter are saying they're playing now, they do not mean they're playing at this current point in time. They are playing. They used to play for a team called Now NAO.
Yeah.
When Peter is saying he's playing a bit for Evry, doesn't mean he's playing for free now, but it means he played for a team called Evry. I know, it's very confusing.
It is massively confusing.
I played 2 weekends of French League. It was too much for me. You have to be at lunch for 3 hours speaking French. Then you have to play a chess game. You always get black if you don't speak French. Then you have to be at dinner for another 4 hours. It's a rough schedule. And yeah, I understand. It's Laurent's natural habitat. I'm still sad, mainly just sad, not even surprised, just sad that instead of 7 hours of eating per day, he doesn't find 1 hour per week, not per day, to talk to his dear friends here. But he's made it clear where his priorities lie. His results are good. Kudos to him.
Such is the nature of things.
But you sound hurt, but are you surprised?
No, at this point, I should no longer be surprised, but I keep, getting my hopes up. I keep keep waiting for change. Doesn't happen. But at this point, yeah, it's clearly it's my problem that I allow myself to get hurt.
I just saw a very nice bit on Twitter regarding some other things. I will have to caveat this by saying this wasn't about Fressinet, but a typical reaction to something happening in the world right now was very aptly described as surprised times disappointed squared. Because first you're surprised, then you're disappointed, and then you're surprised that you're surprised, and you're also disappointed that you're disappointed, and it goes on. It goes on like this. So I think this describes many things in the world these days.
Maybe you're right.
I'm surprisingly disappointed by that story at high hopes.
No, I thought it was good. I have to. Fair enough. Yeah, okay. But it's true. We lost the thread a bit. We were trashing Laurent, I thought.
Yeah, but also praising him for his historically great chess past the age of 40. Because he's also, with all the trashing we're doing, we should mention, in a way, he's timeless, no? He always looks the same. He always, I don't know, is ordering white bread. You can't really tell if he's 28 or 45. And now he's back to playing well.
How old is he, actually?
He will claim he's much younger than us. He's really not. He's 42, 43. I don't know how old he is.
He's younger than me, then. But yeah. No, but also, I mean, well, I thought Laurent was this. I don't think his positional understanding is that great, but he's an incredible fighter at the board. He's sharp tactically. And players like that are supposed to decline massively when they turn 40, right? And it doesn't seem to be the case.
It might be, because normally his non-chess takes are so ridiculous. We might just think his positional understanding is horrible. Do we actually have a position in mind that bears that out? I think it's just his persona. We assume he doesn't understand stuff.
Maybe it's true.
He has all these tight openings. He's very chicken, and he's a decent fighter, practical player. So maybe his skills are actually aging nicely.
Mm-hmm. You could be right. Maybe I'm just too biased. But what are we talking about? Is it a dark horse in the World Cup now, or where are we sort of on the scale?
I don't know. And who's currently the stronger player, Magnus Carlsen or Laurent Fressinet? Coming up next on the Chicken Chess Club podcast.
Yeah. That's an appropriate reaction, but also just us three laughing for about a minute straight would be a good reaction to that suggestion.
I don't know. We should run it by Augur.
Yeah. I have seen too many random sort of friendly, in quotations, blitz games that seem to have settled that question for life. But who knows?
Yeah. No, I guess this ends the Laurent Fressinet segment. Maybe we should just be happy for him.
Should we say that we miss him and we want him to come back? Is that going too far?
I think we are saying that very clearly.
Yeah.
But
fair enough.
He's a peacock. We gotta let him fly.
Okay, this I'll have to Google that expression later.
I think it's a pun, not a pun exactly, but yeah, it's a
quote from a famous movie. Peter Svidler, back to exciting chess content.
Okay.
You traveled to India. You played against Indian number. I have to be careful. I think he's Indian number 3 currently behind Gukesh Vidit Gujarati.
Yep.
First question on Indian names. It's Vidit, right? It's Vidit.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Vidit. So you formally and casually address him as Vidit. Is that correct?
Yeah. If I address him by name at all, I think it should be Vidit. Yeah.
I would like to jump in here and say that Svidler actually came there with a very recent tournament win. He won the Siegerman tournament, and the reason, well, of course, I want to congratulate him, but also want to point out that now we have 3 winners of that event in the podcast. Right?
Wow, that's hurtful. But yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, that was a flip. Yeah. Yeah, it was a very fun trip, and it was particularly fun, somewhat weirdly, from actually the chess perspective, because that's not something I had very high hopes for. And I mean, I did lose in the end very convincingly if you look at the scoreline. But in terms of actual exciting games played, we played very few non-exciting games out of the 16 that we played, and that definitely wasn't the expectation. I lost the classical, lost the rapid quite badly, and I did win the blitz. But I think we both like the final score is with the scoring system that was with 3 points for a classical win, 2 for a rapid win, and 1 for blitz. I ended up losing -7, but I don't think Widget was just kind of humoring me to make me feel better about it when he was sort of agreeing with me that if I win one of the two, at least at some point, I had winning positions in both of my white rapid games, the match would have been pretty close, and it was very much fun to play. So uh, obviously, winning it would have been better, but I did enjoy myself quite a bit. I managed to sacrifice more pieces in the course of the classical and the rapid than I would have thought sort of reasonable to expect against a strong player. People generally, I don't think, give me an opportunity to do that very much. And yeah, whenever that happens, I tend to enjoy it. I tend to enjoy it quite a bit. So apart from the chess, I didn't really leave the hotel once,
What an
Respect.
adventurer!
which was mainly to do with how boring of a person I am, but also we were put up in a hotel which was very close to the airport, and basically like with cars going to the airport, passing by it all the time with no particular walking spots immediately obvious. So it didn't feel like I had much of an option, but I was also not really, I don't really need much of an excuse not to venture outside. Unfortunately for me, the connection was also a bit iffy, which
Well, it
made
wasn't like in Chennai during the Olympiad where I tried leaving the hotel once or twice there. They just wouldn't let us. You could have just there was no walking area in Sonia, which is also
yeah. So we were in
something
the
I
same
tried.
hotel as some of the people who were playing in the Open, and some of them did find some places apparently they could reach by foot, which were an option for a walk, and they tried kind of roping me in, but I very strategically, I always have the do not disturb card on the door, so they actually kind of decided not to knock on the door, which I felt was very considerate. So yeah, that was my Indian trip.
I'm trying to figure out the logistics of that story. So the participants of the Open, they decide to go for a walk. They know your room number for some
Yeah,
reason. They're standing outside your room. They see the do not disturb sign, and then they decide, oh no, Mr. Svidler does not want to be disturbed,
disturb.
so they decide
Exactly.
not
Yes,
to knock in that
yes.
very moment.
That is the story that was given to me afterwards. I
But
was not there to you know be able to confirm or deny, but that was the story that was given
that
to me.
is very reasonable. I mean, I think. Well, I'm not gonna tell who I was working for, but I knocked at the door and I was sort of informed that. Well, do you think the do not disturb sign doesn't count
apply to you. Yeah.
apply to you? So yeah,
Yeah, no, I did have like before the third classical game, somebody actually rang the doorbell twice at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I still
Well,
don't know.
those people are on Videt's payroll. I mean,
yeah.
I think he's a little bit too nice of a person for me to seriously entertain that theory,
that's what he
but
wants you to think.
Yeah.
yeah, that was and the sign was still very much in effect. And after the first one, I thought, okay, I'm not just gonna like acknowledge this is happening, and then it repeated itself, and I actually got up and got into a proper like, now I shall open the door and like shout at whoever is out there. And then I thought this would involve putting on clothes, and then yeah, in the end I didn't,
But Jan
which
is
is a
touching.
regret.
Sorry, Jan is touching on a subject here that, well, I mean, in other sports, the fans are really pestering the players like that. Waking them up at night, poisoning their pizzas, this kind of stuff, right?
Poisoning
There's
their
not.
pizzas. That
It's
seems
not.
oddly specific.
What happened to you?
It's not Michael. No. It's not Michael Jordan, but sort of. Well, for instance, I was living next door to Wesley So, but I thought he was unsportsmanlike that I was listening to loud music after 10 o'clock in the evening, for instance. So maybe I'm just being unprofessional. I should just
Hmm.
go on all night.
I don't know.
Okay. No, I thought
Um,
in basketball there's a ton of stories, right? In football as well, I thought. But okay.
Yeah, I have no idea what my best theory is what somebody was misinformed about the room number and they were looking for somebody else. Why
Sounds
they were
plausible.
looking for really anybody at 6 o'clock in the morning, I still don't quite understand. But yeah, I don't think this was aimed at me. I think it was just like a really weird mishap, which didn't annoy me at the time. But like,
Vedit
apart,
has many fans. Maybe it was even done without his knowledge. I doubt it, but it's also possible. People just thought not to keep
It's
Vedit in.
it's the two options you are operating with.
Those
Yeah.
are the two
yeah,
options. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll
fair,
entertain.
fair.
So you didn't win, so you can't say Vini, Vidit, Vici, right?
Yeah,
I'm
not
also, it might
not
seem
gonna be able to do
complicated
it.
a photo operation, but I was thinking if we get Keimer, Anand, and Vidit in the same spot, we can take a picture and call it Vini, Vidit, Vichy. Which, and I, those are the kind of things I spent my time thinking about. It's
Clearly,
very
This
useful.
you will have a chance for that rather soon, right?
Where? Düsseldorf,
Düsseldorf?
Dubai? Ah, there
Yeah,
might
maybe.
be a chance, yeah.
yeah. That
I,
brings us that brings us very smoothly to our next topic, and that is
Yeah.
the proliferation of the.
There are some prolific, rapid team championships coming up. I'm literally going to Dubai tomorrow to train for the Düsseldorf, whatever it's called, World Team Rapid Championship. But then when I leave Dubai, the I keep forgetting what's called the Global Chess League will start in Dubai, which features I think most of the world's best players, Magnus, Wesley, Ding, everybody's there. I've seen some PR quotes, and they were tremendously inspiring. Magnus and Ding spoke so passionately about the event and the revolutionary nature of men and women being on the same team there, and the groundbreaking disrupting that's being done there. That I'm really really looking forward to.
I
Peter
was
Heine, you're going?
I'm yes and no. I'm probably going, but I need a passport for it. Well, I guess everybody does that, but mine seems to be expiring, and I'm in the process of getting a new one. So,
Hmm.
should that arrive in time, I'm probably gonna go. But well, it's gonna depend on Norwegian, Danish, and the Lithuanian postal services. So, who knows? It's a coin flip at the time, but I do have a ticket. So, yeah.
I was gonna mock you, but I recently did laundry, and shortly after doing laundry, I realized would have been better to take my passport out of my pants before doing laundry.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, it's I think it's still
but
they
I
will still
think
allow me to travel on it, but it doesn't look perfect.
really? Okay. No, for instance, if you are washing, well, at some point, many years ago, I was washing a considerable number of euro notes. They just look cleaner. There's nothing wrong there. But passport
I
Wow.
actually
mean,
gets
but that passports these days have all kinds of chips in them, which might
yeah, yeah,
no longer be scannable. So yeah,
mhm, it's true.
your first trip on this passport will be an adventure.
No, it was very
We'll find out.
puzzling. I need to have a new biometrical passport, and I can't do it in Lithuania, so I didn't really know what to do. But it turned out that even the Danish consulate in Stavanger has biometric equipment. So actually, I realized that the restaurant we were eating on, one of their back rooms, seemed to have the equipment, and I managed to get one. So
Hmm.
pretty weird. But yeah, I think modern passports needs to have a certain kind of stuff.
Yeah, that.
Anyway, that's what I did in Stavanger.
I wouldn't know. So we might meet each other in Dubai at the
Um,
airport. That's gonna
wouldn't
be.
then your plane would have to be considerably delayed, I'm afraid. But we'll
Uh,
see about that. But it's an interesting event in a way. They had a draft, right, and they were announcing the teams. I think Magnus is in the team with. Well, I think Magnus is maybe each team has to have an icon player, then some top players, some youth players, and two female players. And Magnus is the icon, and he's with Gukesh, Pragnananda, and Irigaisi, I think, and Crush and Pets as the female players.
yeah, I
But
think you
I
could
think
do
it's like
worse than getting Pragna and Gukesh and Eric Icy. I'm not sure if it's done by rating or how the draft was done. I think it was like
I,
NBA style. But yeah, it sounds like a
I
pretty good
think
team.
it's a draft where you have $200,000, and then you can basically start bidding for players, and that's how it works. But I didn't follow it in great
So
detail.
it's closer in spirit to the 25K draft than it is to, let's say, an IPL draft, right? So okay, I need sort of some bearings because I missed this entire thing completely, and I'm only now catching up. And the two drafts I'm aware of are the 25K draft, which comes before the World Series starts, and the IPL draft. And it sounds more like a poker draft than it is the cricket one.
Okay, you might have lost me and Jan there, but
I don't know.
That was the intention.
I'm
Yeah.
leaving this podcast whenever
yeah.
one Peter starts talking about FIDE, the other Peter starts talking about. I don't even know what you're talking about. Normally it's cricket when I don't know what you're talking about.
Cricket.
It could also be something else. What else is there? We haven't talked for weeks. Maybe for a reason.
That's fully true.
Let's find out. Oh, I see in our notes we have a lot of Augur talking points. We briefly touched on it already. The debate, I guess, is Magnus, is this the end of an era with the poor Castle result? Yes, maybe, we don't know.
Well, actually, hang on a second, because this is very interesting to me.
Well, one of the votes is I voted no, so I think our whoever is our producer has also voted no because I can see a check mark there. So maybe we're actually we have moved this vote like
Wow.
a little bit.
But frankly, I don't know when he's playing the next super tournament.
Me neither.
But if he is, if I have to bet money, I'm still betting on him, right? Like I'm not sure what odds, but I'm clearly, if I can pick even money, Magnus against any other player to win the tournament, I'm always taking Magnus, right? So I don't think it's
I think
a
so.
debate
I
if
mean,
he's the favorite for a tournament yet.
I think maybe we can argue we're at the stage where you would rather have the field against Magnus, but I think
but that's a separate debate.
Yeah, but even two individual players, I'm not sure you'll take it.
No, let's say, I don't know, who you would even take, like Nakamura and Caruana against Carlsen, you're probably not taking, no?
I don't think so. I'm biased, but for me, he still seems to be the stronger player. Maybe, like sometimes I keep referring to 2018 Ding as a great player, and I'm not updated enough. But I think Magnus still got it. I understand I'm paid to say that, but I actually telling the truth for once.
No, he has to. Well, he doesn't have to, but
You're telling
he hasn't
your
shown
truth.
it in
That's true.
classical for a while. But you can also still tell, even in this, where was it, Warsaw,
Yeah.
where he didn't start great, but you can tell he's still different once he starts rolling in. Yeah, okay, it was blitz, but still, once he starts rolling as the best players, like it's still, it feels different. And I guess even in this Norway chess, I don't know why I'm defending Magnus here, but he won 7 out of his 8 Armageddons, and it wouldn't be too far-fetched to win a classical game here and then. No, I'm assuming we might come to a point where it's a debate, but at this point you're not taking anybody over Magnus. And also, he's lost a bunch of rating, but rating performance-wise, it's not like people are outperforming him on a bigger sample size, right? It's been one bad tournament, basically.
For 2023, they might, but if you go back, then probably not. I think Agor is mentioning that you have to go back to post-COVID, and that I think is wrong.
Pre-COVID.
I'm pretty sure pre-COVID. Sorry. He had pretty good results there. You can just go back to the match, for instance. But even after that, I think didn't he win some events as well? So, I think. No, I understand I'm personally attached, but it's really my professional opinion that I think he's still very, very strong, and everybody feels that when he gets started during an event, he can become an unstoppable force, unlike anyone else.
Also, to make this even more personal for Peter Heine, I think we also have to differentiate between events where Peter Heine is there and events where Peter Heine is not there. I mean, if we look at events where Magnus is by himself, I think he's still winning every single one of them.
Yeah, there is historical evidence to somewhat the contrary, but recently you have making a very, very strong case, I have to admit. I assume he has won an event where I was present at some point, but I can't really recall which one.
Yeah, also has he not won an event where you were not present? Like, I think.
Okay, that was too complex a sentence. I'm sorry.
No, when he's going somewhere without you, he's still winning every time, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, maybe he will figure out the pattern at some point. No, to be fair, I never went to Norway just, and he started bringing me, and he won 4 times in a row. So I felt happy with that, but of course that statistic is ruined now. So I don't know. We'll see. But
yeah,
maybe you're saying he's actually playing a lot of events. He just haven't told me. So
I'm not sure if chess events.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah.
I don't know if he brings you to poker tournaments to do some
he
quick
hasn't.
math on the side. Like,
Surprisingly,
that has actually been forbidden now. There's been some recent developments because they've removed to
really
specifically ban using solvers and the related things when you're not in the hand. So they're sort of catching up to where we are.
ever so not good.
yeah. Ever so slowly getting to where we are now. Yeah.
But you're still allowed to have 7 semi-drunk friends standing there and shout, right? Oh.
Yeah, but they probably aren't as good as
no.
as they. Yeah, the current World Series has a very funny situation because one of the major sponsors is specifically Solver software. So they have to mention it on air, but they also have to say, please don't use it because you will get banned from the World Series immediately. So it's a kind of a
they are
balance.
banned simply because they give relevant feedback, you're saying, yeah?
Yeah, by this point, it's becoming sort of fast enough to actually provide you with enough data in between hands to inform your play.
Okay.
I mean, phones were banned when you're in the hand for a while, but now they're also.
But how would you compare it with chess? It would be like I would not be allowed to walk up to Magnus before the Armageddon game and tell him, okay, Stockfish says this thing, or is it even stronger?
Yeah, I don't know. Drawing those parallels is difficult, but yeah, I thought it was a kind of a funny.
Yeah. No. Wow.
Funny little development.
I thought poker was safe, but that's purely just ignorance.
It hasn't been safe for a while, but now it's also impacting live play. I mean, online has been bot reading for ages, but even live now is feeling the strain. Anyway, before Jan finally makes an internal decision never to invite me again, we need to move on.
I don't call the shots around here. Don't worry. Don't worry. You're safe. How's Hearthstone doing? Any developments?
I'm looking for something else to play and kind of failing. I'm I don't know, not really making too much headway, and looking for new things to lose myself in, but without really much success, apart obviously from the dog walking, which does occupy the entirety of my heart and soul.
Dog walking doesn't sound like too draining emotionally or financially, so I was hoping you could do better than that.
Yeah, like it. Well, I mean, I was going to argue about financially, but yeah, it's not gonna completely break us, but it's so that's cheap. It's not as cheap as you think. Yeah, he does eat. And we also, the kind of a newish development in the life of our dog is that we bought him those buttons that supposedly teach them how to speak. You can buy these like mats you put on the floor, and then you put buttons inside the mat, which have a small recorder inside it, so you can record like a word or a phrase, but normally it's a one word. And the dog pushes it with, he prefers the nose, but paws are also acceptable, and it says something. So this way you can teach your dog to sort of talk to you. And so far we've very successfully taught him to say my Olga's name and then the preferred kind of food he wants right this moment. nothing else works reliably. Like we can't get him to actually ask us to take him for a walk, which was a bit surprising. I thought that button would be very popular, but that is not happening for some reason. But Peter and then cheese is a very popular sequence of 2 buttons, which happens quite a bit.
This is
Awkward pause.
pretty no, it sounds like Pavlov's dog things. I mean, it's pretty fascinating stuff. So basically, Jan is just flabbergasted.
Yeah, that's one way to describe it.
Yeah.
You didn't like awkward pause? I'm trying very hard here.
No. For me, it's a very fascinating stuff here. I mean, it almost feels a lot of.
No, I'm afraid to ask Peter Svidler anything now. Like,
try it.
What are your next chess tournaments?
Yeah, I think PH is probably not going there because he will be like very, very opposed to the existence of that thing. But I think we're meeting in
as well. I'm not invited, but okay.
Yeah, but like
what function would he go there? Like a journalist?
Yes, honored guest. Yeah,
yeah, that is true.
But yeah, I think Düsseldorf is what I'm likely to be doing next.
But that's end of August. That's in like 3 months. So you need other activities to fill the time until you can team up with Vladimir Kramnik to compete for the prestigious inaugural.
Is it you're saying title. You're not playing the World Cup? Is that how we understand you?
Actually, yeah, that's kind of stupid of me. But my situation with the World Cup is a bit weird because this year is the first year in a while where I actually don't know if I qualify or not.
Oh, that's true.
And I can't really bring myself to do any research. So I've basically told myself, eventually, in previous years, if you do qualify, they send you an email saying you still haven't signed the contract. And and then you sign the contract and you're good. So I'm basically in this holding pattern where I'm not doing anything to find out if I'm playing or not. And it will resolve itself somehow eventually.
Sort of me opening the FIDE document with the invitations is you would like rather you want to be in sort of left in the dark about
yeah. I'm very consciously not actually making that step. Yeah.
Okay. Seems Jan is trying to annoy you and find out. But yeah.
I'm Googling, but I can't.
No. But it reminds me. I mean,
I'm not sure you'll get a definitive result because I think that like the last batch has not gone out and.
No. I think there was a year where Ivanchuk was giving a legendary interview and sort of he came up with a lot of reasons why he didn't want to play the candidate. He was busy, had other tournaments, and so on. At some point, the journalist asked, "Was it you were not actually qualified, right?" So
yeah.
I'm so sorry for bringing it up if you're not qualified. But,
no, I'm completely fine with it. Like
it should be like in the biggest golf tournaments, just to bring up another favorite subject of Jan, right? I mean, if you win it, you're qualified for life. I mean, that's how it is.
Yeah, that would be useful, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too unfair even. I mean, it's not like there's
probably not horrible, yeah.
Not that many winners.
Yeah, the list would not really be.
I don't think it was
such a strain on the tournament, let's put it like this, having to re-invite those people.
Jan is trying to come up with some. Oh, you gave up.
No, I'm studying the rules, but yeah, 71 federation spots selected according to the final standings of the 44th Chess Olympiad.
Does not apply.
Peter. Yeah. 4 nominees of FIDE president. Who knows?
Could happen.
It's not helping Peter Heinert that much, we know. 2 nominees of the organizer. That's Baku.
Yeah, but there is a list with the names.
Come on.
There's 142 names, but Peter's not on that list.
Yeah, okay. This much we know, yeah.
I guess you noted also that very few countries has made their nominee's name public yet, but of course, Fressinet being one.
Only Laurent Fressinet.
Exactly.
France chose their best fighter.
Yep.
Yeah, choose your fighter. So yeah, that's my current situation with playing over the summer. Yeah.
Apologies.
If the World Cup happens, I will probably play. If it doesn't happen, I will. I mean, neither thing particularly brings me. I'm very, very ambivalent, frankly, this year.
Well, speaking of winners who might not play, I don't know if you saw Aronyan's tweet.
Mm.
And yeah.
No.
Aronyan would like to play, but he says that he will not feel safe in Baku, so he's suggesting to play online from the feeder offices in Lausanne.
Mm.
I have no idea if that's happening, but well, it would be
So like the famous Fischer Kubat. Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Mm.
So, anyway, that was just a detour.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there are some other past winners who could be a bit of a controversial inclusion, but yeah.
don't worry, we have a segment for that.
I have a dog walk I need to get to.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm very aware that I am the reason I'm not getting to my dog walk, because if I haven't borked the Zencaster, we would be on time. But
it's a good point. I can skip
No,
that.
that's fine. We can switch to the
single
Peter
camera
segments. The correspondence, can we keep that short? Is it over? Like,
no. I mean, but actually, moves has happened since then, and also I think, well, it's possible to chat in a very slow manner during these correspondence games. But I think one of them, I think he's listening to our podcast, and probably he thought that me saying the games is going to end up in a draw. He actually, he pointed out that he would rather play out the games, and it's a fair enough point. So if I sort of tried to sneak in a draw offer in the podcast, he was actually declined. So that's fair enough. But we will see. One of them, I cannot tell the position, but I have a knight against 2 pawns, and I think I have them under control. So I expect it to be drawn rather shortly. But let's see. So again, I could claim a draw by table basis, but I'm not sure how to do that, technically speaking. So not too much happening. But also the good news is that I have probably misread the rules. So if I'm making more than 50%, even if I don't win this qualifier, I'm still qualified for the next stage. So this segment can go on for quite some years from here, I would say.
It's good stuff. I'm wondering which of these segments will be mined for the YouTube shorts. Is it like the Svidler dog stuff, the Svidler poker stuff, the Svidler cricket stuff, the Peter Heine correspondence stuff, the Peter Heine golf stuff? I don't know. I don't feel I'm contributing to all this gold. Then I guess we get to the FIDE segment. Do I have stuff to say? No, I saw this tweet, or I'm not sure if it was a tweet by Irina Bulmaga, maybe? I guess Peter Heine read it as well, but yeah, I was impressed with what she had to say, and I think
she's just saying what I've said for years in a weaker form. I mean,
yeah, exactly. It's there's a little more nuance than toward you're saying what you will say again now. So do your thing. But shout out to her.
Both her and Ogod was saying stuff. No, I really think that she's saying 1-1 what I'm saying. But sure.
No.
Yes, I think. You might just not have read it all.
I did read it carefully.
Yeah. So no, but she made quite some post on Facebook, I think, right? And then Ogor had sort of a long debate with Vallejo on Twitter, and then he's made some statement as well. So there is some action there. Have my segment started, or?
No, I'm still here. Like I just wanted to weigh in before your segment starts. So 5 minutes of Peter's FIDE. I don't know. Starts now. Thank you guys so much for listening, and see you soon.
Okay, well, I can do my stuff actually, because quite something has happened since last time. Kayakin once again has made a quite strong public appearance. He put up a video on Telegram where he's asking for financial support for the Russian troops. He's showing some of the clips when he was recently visiting the army in Luhansk and Donetsk recently. And, well, one could say, what is the problem about this? Well, everybody seems to agree that Kayakin is a bad guy. We know that, and I think that perhaps at least 95% of the chess world finds Kayakin's actions completely unacceptable. Well, My problem with it is that there is no reaction from FIDE and the chess world. There is a lot of condemnation, but earlier we actually decided to ban him. This, for some reason, we are not doing now. If you, look at it, Kayakin is invited to play the World Cup. His list is on the official list of players. And what happened next was that Kayakin is giving interviews in Russian state media. He's even putting up a vote on his social media account, should he play the World Cup or not. And he's saying, well, should I really play when I'm not allowed to play with my flag and my anthem? And a lot of people is voting, no, you shouldn't. You should actually be principled. So the situation is this weird thing that it's Kayakin who is boycotting the World Cup. It's not the World Cup who is saying that, no, we don't want to have anything to do with you. And I think that's very wrong. We have to make a stand on this, and it should be the chess world telling it, Kayakin, you have no place here. It cannot be that Kayakin is welcomed, and Kayakin is actually the one who is saying that we don't do it. So we should really take some juridical steps, and the way juridical steps happens in the chess world is to take it to the Ethics Commission. We did it in 2022. Why we are not doing it now, one can only speculate. In principle, it's Dvorkovic's decision, but also it could be the FIDE Council, it could be the FIDE, what the F is happening in the background here from others. It could be the FIDE Management Board, etc. And so, but someone has to take ownership and say we should ban Kayakin, or that we think no, he shouldn't be banned, he should be allowed to play, and then defend that kind of position. I think, obviously, my opinion is Kayakin should have no place in the chess world, but then we should actually be the us kicking him out, not him saying, no, I don't really want to play with you guys when you're discriminating me. Then the second thing in sort of the FIDE chess world is that there was a match supposed to happen called a match of solidarity between two Georgian female players against two from Ukraine. The match is still happening in Batumi, but the name has changed to championship match, and absolutely no word of explanation from FIDE. It's pretty weird that the name is just changing and no one really cares to explain why. I think everybody understands why. That solidarity is towards Ukraine and towards Georgia, who has both been invaded by Russia and who has actually currently have territory annexed by Russia. But well, I think we should show solidarity to that. I understand people think FIDE should be apolitical, but actually we are bound by the FIDE Charter, which even points in the direction of the UN and so on. So there's a bit of background sound here. I'm sorry. So, but I think it's wrong that we just changed the name from Solidarity to Championship without any kind of explanation. But what I found very wrong is actually that at the same time this match is happening, we have the World Cadet Championships. A bunch of Russian kids is playing there, around 50. This has the consequence that Ukrainian kids are not going to play. I understand the principal problem that FIDE would like to be neutral and invite everybody to play. But I think we have to face in the chess world that if we are inviting Russian kids to play, the Ukrainian kids will stay away. And this is a dilemma that is real. It has the consequence that the Ukrainian kids are not playing. And I think we have to make a decision there. What are we going to do? I think right now the chess world, and especially FIDE, is just hiding there. So I think they should take a decision, and it's obvious that from my perspective, we should let the Ukrainian kids play. And that will mean that we actually have to ban the Russian kids as it is right now. But I would say, as with the Kayakin problem, first of all, we should have a FIDE leadership who takes responsibility, explains why they're doing what they do, and then, well, people can actually oppose or applaud it in a way. I have no idea if are they actually back? Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Of course,
the great thing is you can zoom in at any time, and it's Kayakin, FIDE, transparency. Like it's very reliable.
You very much, but as long as the problems are not solved, the talk will still be there. Anyway, I think we got a bit of dog talk as well in the podcast, but let's see.
No, we've covered a variety.
No. I mean, there was anyway. So, anything else we have left, or questions from Twitter? Not really.
I don't have a dog in the fight. The only problem is that normally we blame Laurent for everybody being unprepared for this podcast. Now we've had 2 weeks, we have no Laurent, and we still got nothing. Maybe Laurent wasn't the problem all along. Is it time to take a long, hard look into the mirror?
Time for a tough one. Yeah,
It is his fault.
niche reference.
I think.
Yeah, I will say that my one high hope for this episode was kind of dashed when we briefly touched on Jakob's Twitter activity, and then went into this very serious discussion of whether Magnus is still the world number one, instead of just dedicating our time to discussing Jakob's Twitter, which I thought was. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it now.
No.
I think the moment has sadly passed, but I will say that, much as with Livon Aronian playing well, Chess World is sort of the better place when Jakob is providing us with his extremely hot takes, none of which I tend to agree with. Well,
I disagree with him on this one, but sometimes I think he basically thinks that the rating system is not updating quick enough, which there is some truth in. But I think this one he got wrong, but time will tell, I guess.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Chicken Chess Club podcast. We'll be back in a couple of months when Monsieur Fressinet finds time in his busy schedule, or we might be back next week with a whole new lineup and all kinds of, I don't know, who are we kidding? Something might happen or might not happen. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Peter Svidler, for joining us in these trying times that we live in. And see you guys soon.
see you.